So today we're going to talk about distance versus displacement. And again, in your equation section, you want to make sure you recognize these are different things. We're going to represent distance with a little l, and we're going to represent displacement with an s and an arrow over it. I don't pick the variables. I know my s's look like 2's. So when I get up in the morning to go for a jog, and I come to school and I brag, I have to brag about my distance. When I run a half mile, 3/4 of a mile, 3/4 of a mile, and then this side will be half a mile also, and I know it doesn't make sense, but it's not exactly straight when I run in the morning, I would come to school and brag that I ran 2.5 miles. That is a distance. That's how far I have run. I start here, I run all the way around, and I end here. My displacement is 0 miles, and then usually you got to have some direction, so that maybe I'd say 0 miles north or south. When you're 0, it doesn't matter which direction, but a distance is simply a magnitude. It's simply a number. A displacement is how far you actually go. And it's important to realize that a scalar quantity, just a number, just a magnitude, that is distance. And a vector is magnitude and direction. That is displacement. We like to use distance often in our communications. If I tell you the distance that I drive every day to come to school, it's 10 miles to Juda, 10 miles home. That's 20 miles. My displacement at the end of the day is 0 miles. Because again, I start at home, I end at home. But let's talk about walking my dog to its favorite fire hydrant. There's Ava in blue, there's a fire hydrant, here's my house. If I walk 4 blocks and 3 blocks, and actually I don't do it, I send one of my kids, how far distance have I traveled? My distance traveled, because they shouldn't cut across lawns, is 7 blocks. But what is my displacement? Well, there's a number of ways to talk about this. But first of all, we should all recognize from algebra time, Pythagorean theorem, this is a 3, 4, 5 triangle. And I'll use B for blocks. This is 5 blocks this way. And if I use my calculator and I use the inverse tangent of 3/4, right? Because I got a degree angle here, which I'll call A. Do we all recall from geometry, tangent of A is 3/4. When I input that in my calculator, I'm going to round it. It's about 37 degrees. I'm going to say that my displacement is 5 blocks at an angle of 37 degrees. And there's all kinds of ways in physics to talk about this. We might say that this is northeast if this was north. We just have to give a direction. And again, because it has a magnitude and direction, this is a vector. Since this is simply a magnitude, distance is simply a magnitude, it is a scalar. Again, distance and displacement are not the same thing.